Hi, it's Lynn here. I've had some questions in regard to the April assignment for 2022, and it is triptychs. So I thought I'd do a quick video to show you how to create a triptych pretty easily in Lightroom. First thing though, a quick definition of triptych. Obviously it's 3 images, but there's a couple of different kind of triptychs. The 2 main ones are a triptych made out of 3 images, made up 3 images out of 1 image. So basically they've taken a large, usually a wider image, and cut it into 3 pieces. A lot of times that's what you use by interior decorators because they want a cohesive image over the couch, say, in a room. So that is not what we're looking for here. We want 3 images in one that are related to each other. It's obvious that they're related to each other. So even without a title, you should be able to look at the image and say, yeah, these 3 have something to do with each other. So think about it before you combine them. I picked these 3 because basically they're all bamboo and they're probably pretty much the same color. It's not one I'm going to use in competition, but I just use this as an example. Anyway, what you want to do is pick 3 images, create a collection in Lightroom. So you can create a collection here by adding, hitting the plus key, create a collection. You can name it, then save it. You can either, I wouldn't save it inside another collection, but you include all the images. Actually, I'll go ahead and do one right here for you just so you can see how it works. Can't type. Triptych number 1 because I already have one. So and these are all selected, so they're actually going to create, a new triptych right here. Okay. So now I have 3 pictures selected. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to go over here to your print module, which is up here in the top right hand corner, and you're going to click that. You probably are going to have this come in to whatever template you may have already picked at one point. It could be blank, but there is a bunch of preset or templates here in Lightroom, and if you have to unclick it there, but if you scroll all the way down to this list, you'll find triptych. It's going to look like this. Now, if you don't have all 3 of your all of your images clicked, you can see nothing, or you can see 1. It means you need to have all of these selected in order for all 3 pictures to show up in the template. The next thing you're going to do is come over here to the right hand panel, and we're going to make some changes to make this look like a normal triptych. First off, we're going to unclick zoom to fill because basically when it zooms, it's basically cutting off part of your image, so you don't want to do that. We want to show as much of the image as possible. The next thing you're going to do is come down to the layout section, and we're going to unclick. First thing we're going to do is unclick keep square because we don't want that. The next thing we're going to do is change the page grid, which we have 1 column right now. We want 3 columns and we want 1 row. So now we have our proper configuration, but now we got tiny little images. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take the cell spacing and we're going to make it 0. And now your next option is to change your cell size. So we want this to be, obviously we're cramming 3 pictures into the space of a normal image. So we want the images in your triptych to be as big as possible without jamming them together, because then that doesn't make it a triptych anymore. It makes it basically a multiple exposure or something like a collage. So what we're going to do is we're going to give this, give ourselves as much of the picture as we can without, creating a problem, and we may have to do a little bit of adjusting here and there to try to get this to space out right. We don't want it to be so big that we're slamming it in, and you can adjust obviously all of this stuff, and it really depends on your image. Obviously, if you've got, this works best with vertical images. If you have a horizontal image, then you're going to have to play around with it a little bit more, because obviously a horizontal is going to take more of the horizontal version of this paper, quote unquote paper, if we were going to print this out. So you have to play with these layout options and sliders the best you can to get your 3 images on this basically white piece of paper. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do, once we figured out how we're going to have this configured on the page, the next thing you can do is you can change the background color. Now, if the default is probably going to be white, but you can click on this little thing right here, and this picker will come up, and you can click on it, and you can make it, light gray, you can make it dark gray, you can make it black. If you'll notice, there's also colors coming up over here on the right-hand side of the dialog box. And normally you wouldn't really, this looks kind of weird. So you don't really want to do that. You want to stick with the black and whites. And, if a, darker shade of gray or black makes your picture stand out, give it a try. And you can definitely do that. And I'm going to go with, just leave it a white. Okay. The next thing you want to do is scroll down here. And now the last panel on the page is basically the print job. Now, we're not going to print this, but we have to save it somewhere. So the options here for print to are the printer, which is probably the default, but I've already checked the JPEG file. So we want to create a JPEG file. So click it on JPEG file. Resolution, you probably want, I put it up to 300 ppi. That way you've got a pretty good size file. That we can, if we want to make any, it's going to be kind of hard to make any adjustments to this in Lightroom if we're going to talk about that, in Critique. But make your resolution up to like 300 ppi. This other stuff you can click. This is more for printing, but you do want to make your JPEG quality 100%. That way you've got a nice, good size JPEG here. Custom file dimensions, that's not important. And you want to make your profile an sRGB, since this is going to be transmitted digitally. Okay, so now that we have all this set up, the next thing to do is print to file. Okay, and so you're going to get this dialog box come up that's save file. So you're going to need to name your triptych, and you're going to you're going to have to pick someplace to save it so you can find it, so you can bring it to us and send the submission in. So anyway, I'm not going to do that because I'm not going to really save this one. But this, take a look at this. If you have to go back and listen to it and watch it again, if you have any questions, give me, contact me via email at mytbcc@gmail.com, and I'll try to answer your questions. I did want to mention one other thing though. There has also been some questions about submissions for this. Normally we have a limit of 2 assignments, 1 general or 2 general and 1 assignment. So technically if you did one of these, that's 3 images, but it's considered 1 image because it's a triptych. So you can do 2 triptychs and a general, or 2 generals and 1 triptych. So if you have any questions, let me know. Hopefully this will get you the ability to create a triptych in just a couple of minutes once you decide which ones to use. That's the hardest part, I think. And then go ahead and save those images and send them via our submission email in April, just like we normally do. And hopefully we have a bunch of these entries because it should be interesting to see what everybody comes up with. Thanks again, and hope to see you soon at the next meeting, and have a great day. Thanks.